Welcome back. Good Thursday morning, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. I'm Maria Bartiromo, and it is Thursday, June 25th. It is 8:02 on the East Coast. Oil prices this morning are the story. Take a look at where crude is below $70 a barrel. Just as President Trump has been predicting, prices have been spiraling lower, reaching the lowest levels now since before the start of the Iran conflict. Oil is now flowing through the Strait of Hormuz as the U.S. and Iran remain in negotiations. Fox Business's Lauren Simonetti is reporting that 70 vessels crossed the Strait of Hormuz on Wednesday, and 8 others have crossed so far this morning. Some of those vessels carrying oil, adding to the global oil supply and driving prices lower. Joining me now is U.S. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum. Secretary, good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. What can you tell us about this? How much will this reopening help drive oil and gas lower? And what are you seeing across the country?
Well, here we are, Maria, just as President Trump predicted. We've got markets up, oil prices down, and oil is flowing through the Straits of Hormuz. But we should just step back. I think everyone underestimates what President Trump has accomplished here. Everyone talks about Iran not having a nuclear weapon. If they had a nuclear weapon, which they were very close to achieving, they would have either used it, and we'd be in World War III right now, or B, they would use it as leverage because they've been holding their own people hostage for the last 47 years. They wanted to hold the world economy hostage by trying to pretend that they controlled the Strait of Hormuz. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they would have been the boss of everybody in the Middle East. But here, President Trump's strategy around energy dominance, more supply on the market drives prices down for Americans and drives world peace abroad. His energy dominance has basically shifted the geopolitics of energy from the Middle East to the Western Hemisphere, with Venezuela, with the United States, with Alaska, part of the U.S., of course, but the production coming online up there. It's just a major shift, and it's going to pay benefits for generations and generations to come.
Well, there's so much going on in terms of the activity around critical minerals, around reducing drilling costs. And the Interior Department, I know, is announcing proposed changes to the Bureau of Land Management's oil and gas leasing and waste prevention rules. You're cutting red tape, lowering costs, boosting U.S. energy production. Tell me about this plan that is rolling back the Biden-era statewide bonding requirement, lowering the minimum bond from $500,000 to $25,000, and updating the waste prevention rules.
Well, this is under Biden administration. They weren't just trying to regulate the oil and gas industry. They were trying to strangulate it. The regulation changes they made, like the increase you just described, were rolling it back to pre-Biden eras, but they had a 20-fold increase announced overnight, which then, in terms of putting a bond down just to being able to develop a lease on federal land. This killed production on federal land. No one was even bidding on leases on federal land under the Biden administration because it became so onerous. As you know better than anyone, capital flows to where it can get its risk-adjusted return, and
right.
and they were lowering the returns, but they were also creating uncertainty because even if you won a lease sale, you may not ever be able to get a permit to actually develop that. By rolling these back last month, we had a lease sale just in one office of BLM in Carlsbad, New Mexico. $4 billion came into the U.S. Treasury, a record sale for that. And again, this is helps get the deficit down, helps pay for schools and roads in New Mexico, and helps lower the prices for Americans. So again, rolling back the regulation to pre-Biden era is just common sense, and it's part of President Trump's strategy.
And you've said that this rollback is expected to cut compliance costs by nearly $17 million a year and increase transparency for taxpayers. A lot of CEOs say it's really about permitting at this point now. The president understands that. He keeps doing executive orders about ensuring that we've got the permitting out there that companies need to put money to work in the ground. How significant is it for Congress to be codifying these things, putting these things on the book so that they don't get reversed when the next president is in place?
Well, the permitting bill that's in front of Congress is very important, and they should pass it. Of course, Democrats are holding it up. One of the things they're trying to use as leverage is one of the things they're trying to do is say, listen, we won't vote for permitting unless the Trump administration agrees to keep, subsidizing intermittent and weather-dependent and often foreign-sourced sources of electricity. And that's just something that President Trump's not willing to do. So they really don't have leverage in that way over the administration, because what we need in America right now is energy addition, not energy subtraction. And as it comes to our power grid, all the rules under the Biden administration, if you're transitioning from reliable 7x24 to something that's dependent on the weather, that's energy subtraction. That's not energy transition. And we need energy addition. We need energy to power manufacturing, all the jobs, the foreign direct investment coming back into this country, what we need to manufacture AI, manufacturing intelligence here in the United States is critical to the strength of our economy. And of course, with President Trump, we have lower taxes, less regulation, and we have seen a flow of capital coming to the United States like never before. And it truly is going to be the golden age for America going forward. But we've got a few more things to clean up from the mess that was left behind by the last administration relative to energy policy that was headed 180 degrees in the wrong direction.
Unbelievable. I mean, truly, the administration is celebrating a major win against China, meanwhile, in this African rare earth minerals race. The U.S. backing American company Virtus Minerals in developing 2 cobalt and copper mines in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The project expected to be the first U.S.-backed critical minerals investment in the country since the president announced that the Washington Accord was happening back in December. Secretary, we know that China has long dominated the cobalt supply chain, with 80% of the world's cobalt coming from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Chinese companies controlling most of that production. This is a big win for the U.S. to get a foothold here. What can you tell us about critical minerals and what you're seeing across the country that are so critical to our defense and technology?
Well, Maria, you're so right here. I mean, again, we've as part of the U.S. Geologic Survey, which is part of Interior, we released last year the critical minerals list. There's 60 minerals on there, the 20 that are most important to defense, technology, medical applications. The U.S. China's controlling 85 to 100% of the top 20 on that list. Just as we say, drill, baby, drill, we've got to mine, baby, mine, and we've got to refine, baby, refine. We've got to get back in both the mining and the refining of critical minerals. We ceded that to China, not just us, but the rest of the free world. China really has a chokehold. I mean, they have an economic chokehold instead of a geographic chokehold like the Strait of Hormuz, and they're willing to use it. So again, President Trump driving more investment back into this, cutting regulation, helping capital flow, and taking some moves that haven't been done before, where the United States of America, through the Department of War, is literally investing in companies that are developing mines and refining in America, because the market forces quit working because China would just dump product on the market anytime an American company, either here or abroad, started making any progress towards refining or mining any of these minerals. So we're trying to restore that balance. We had earlier this year, we had 51 countries came to a meeting at the State Department here in Washington, D.C., all interested in bilateral accords with the U.S. to develop essentially a free market trading where we could trade minerals amongst each other in that without any tariffs between those groups. And then the investments that we're making both here in the United States, in the lower 48, in Alaska, and abroad, like the ones you just mentioned, all of this are getting us back in the game, but we've got a long way to go. At the university level, I've been to multiple of our mining schools. We're down to 17 mining schools. We only graduated 300 graduates in mining or metallurgical degrees last year in the United States. China graduated 12,000. And by contrast, we're producing 36,000 lawyers a year. Again, recommendation of people want a great career for the next 50 years. Think about going into mining. It's a high-tech industry with all the new technology that's being applied there. Incredible advances in material science, incredible innovations. This is a different industry than what's being portrayed. Very exciting career opportunities. And again, we're permitting through the Department of Interior. We permitted a mine in Arizona that had been trying to get a permit for 29 years. They can produce 25% of the copper that the United States needs. So again, we're getting back in the game, and we're seeing capital start to flow back into that mining sector.
That is wonderful. In terms of your work on permitting at the Interior Department, thank you for that. And also what you said about mining and potential job opportunities for people, that is also so interesting. I love the mining industry. But, you know, it's just astounding to me when I think about our past leaders. I mean, how is it possible? I mean, this didn't just pop up when President Trump walked in the door. These have been issues that have been major issues for a long time. It was President Trump who actually walked in the door and took action and made a change. But the fact that for all of this time, the U.S. was completely reliant on China, our #1 adversary for prescription drugs, or on Taiwan for advanced semiconductors, or the fact that, and I've been railing about this for years, the fact that we were buying drones from DJI for our military. What? We were buying drones from China? I mean, so, I would always say that thinking, how is this possible? Well, it really was possible. And why is it that President Trump was the first president to actually recognize these are all national security issues?
Yes, and of course, just 4 years ago, when Russia invaded Ukraine, we were buying our enriched uranium for our 93 electric nuclear plants in America from Russia. So, you know, ending that, bringing that back home. But even something as simple and common sense, President Trump, you know, was in Alaska last month. There's a road that they've been trying to get built for 40 years. President Trump, with his signature, made it possible. We cut the ribbon at mile 0 of the Ambler Road. It goes 200 miles back to 1,700 mining claims that have been locked back there, one of the richest mining areas in the world. So, as President Trump said, America's back, and that's great news for consumers. With more energy, lower prices.
They're playing the music, but real quick, anything you want to say about America 250 and what's going on across the country in terms of the celebrations for July 4th and America's 250th birthday? Real quick.
Well, a special one, July 1st, President Trump coming to the Theodore Roosevelt National Park in North Dakota to dedicate the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library. Going to be one of the greatest projects ever built at the entrance to one of our 63 flagship national parks. I hope you'll get there someday, Maria.
I'd love to. Secretary, thank you. Great to see you this morning. Doug Burgum joining us. Thank you, Secretary. We'll be right back.